But where did this modern collection of folk dances come from? I visited the University of Texas's Latin American Studies Department, where I met Dr. Laura Gutiérrez, who explained that modern Ballet Folklorico actually had its origins in the Mexican Revolution.
So the Mexican Revolution of 1910 was a socialist revolution, meaning that its intention was to denounce the ways in which Mexico's wealth was unevenly distributed, right? I mean, it was an oligarchy, it was a dictatorship, meaning that the wealth was in the power of 10 families, meaning that, people were working the land, but it didn't, necessarily belong to them.
The war was waged for nearly 7 years, with demands for social reforms and equality, culminating in the proclamation of the current constitution, the political constitution of the United Mexican States. In addition to this new document, the new government also sought to create a new national identity, one that would incorporate all the peoples and cultures living within Mexico's borders.
What do you do when, campesinos or peasants or indigenous people never felt that they actually belonged? You kind of had to persuade them that this was their country, right? So culture was used very astutely to create a sense of national identity that was not necessarily there before, at least not in a cohesive form, right?
The new identity of Mexico became one of mestizaje, or cultural and racial mixing.
The model or the paradigm that was used in Mexico was to say that we are all mestizos or mestizas, meaning that we are all a product of miscegenation. We're all racially mixed, in other words, right?
One way culture was used to further the idea of mestizaje was through the indigenous and social dances of the regions of Mexico. Dances from colonial Spanish and indigenous religious ceremonies were taken from their original contexts and presented as a national dance repertoire, the most famous of which was developed by Amalia Hernandez, the founder of the National Ballet Folklorico of Mexico.
So the repertoire that is now sort of easily understood as Ballet Folklorico is because, it was very astutely done in the middle of the 20th century when Amalia Hernandez sort of created her ensemble and the repertoires, right, that were part of the presentation that was done both national but also international. And that's where the sort of the packaging of what is Mexico is sort of used to point to, right? This is what Mexico is. This is what Mexicans are. This is,
These dances, and especially Jalisco's costumes and dances, have developed into a symbol of Mexico's nationalism, a symbol that has evolved from the revolution and been incorporated into the fabric of what it means to be Mexican.
I think the Mexican Revolution was successful because it was a huge it used culture, and it was a huge apparatus that knew that the only way to create national identity was by using culture. And I don't know of any other country that did that so well, to the point that now you have very easily identifiable symbols of what is Mexico, right? So you have, especially with dance forms like the jarabe tapatío, right? What is called the Mexican hat dance, right? Or the mariachi sounds, right? There's nothing more Mexican than that. And the way that it came into existence is, after the Mexican Revolution, you see that sort of being raised to the national stage, and it's performed there, and it's repeated so much that you convince people that that's what Mexico is, right?